It's so disgusting, bro. I sit here like, if every person told the truth in a situation that they were in, you'd put us as the people on the map. But I feel like you cop a side deal or keep silent, which is why I'm looking at people like, so you're saying all this stuff about did this to black. I'm like, what? That's like a cop out. I ain't do nothing to our people. If anything, I showcased what was or needed to be corrected. The isolation if a person acts a certain way because you don't know why they act the way they act. And they may actually need your guidance. The trying to be together. The spreading of information in regards to if you do go down that path of using things that you know not. Like, you should make sure you have this around, and that around, and this around. I'm talking about if you use detrimental things to yourself. But somebody played the, I don't know. And then somebody else capitalized on it. The same person that shrugs their shoulder or bucks behind my back, I look at you and I shake my head. I'm like, 'cause you're the same person that's more detrimental to us than I will ever be. You're the person that doesn't care, or that'll play along, or that'll co-sign for some improper stuff when you should actually co-sign for the one that actually brings awareness and tries to bring about change and things. Like, even here, I was like, can't you do an emergency application for X, Y, and Z? They acting like they don't know. Went somewhere else and got approved of an emergency situation for, since I'm on NYCHA, to get an actual voucher to go somewhere else that I didn't even know about like that. I was like, because I was just at NYCHA, I was just getting, what is it, the $100 a month off rent, and going to these different places and getting these different benefits and sharing them with people versus sitting there on some plot or some scheme or trying to run around talking about making money on somebody or co-signing or not co-signing and it's all this extra stuff. You know what I mean? Not fitting the quote, but then also standing up and saying, hey, why don't we do stuff in these apartments to make things better? Like, make sure everybody has a water filtration added onto their thing, because if you're not getting treated the best in a given situation, then you make the situation better. Like when I went and I came, I complained about certain different aspects of things that were going on. I was like, oh, we should have this door locked so people can't just come in. We should report graffiti. If it gets graffiti on, go ahead and report it. They fixed my complaint pretty quick. And the back door to the stairwell where people come in and ask them to start locking closet doors because people were going in the closet doors and performing fellatio and other things right around the corner. And this, that, and the third. But somebody on a selfish kick will make me look detrimental in my flight to actually help everybody. And then somebody else will come in that might not have the best of intentions, might have nosy intentions, might want to get on somebody's good side because they know somebody's connection, and come and take your spot. Not saying that that's their main goal, not saying this, that, and the third, but you never know. Like saying, oh, well, let's try not to call, like I said, let's try not to call maintenance as much for clog this and clog that, and tried to go get the drain unclogger. But then all of a sudden somebody starts stopping up their side all the time. So I'm like, now I'm calling because the tub is stopped up, and now I'm looking like a hypocrite. But I'm sitting up here like, no, let's just try to fix as much as I can on my own. Oh, well, let's try to make him mess up as much as we can. And cause more problems when he was never a problem to begin with. When every time they came, if they did do something out the way, I tried to tip. Well, let's try to get him out the way and make ourselves look better. Let's compete. And I'm sitting here like, other people ain't competing like that. We're surrounded by, not saying that they're going against us, but people that aren't the same. And then 9 times out of 10, you didn't even talk to people. But you do some mean girl type stuff, and now you're outside, now you're talking to people. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. I was like, that don't make no sense of how. And then it's like, you don't realize what you messed up in the process. Like, even when I was here, like, just standing up and saying, hey, you shouldn't do this or that, oh, da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. I even noticed yesterday somebody came up here for a cigarette, right? And asked me for a quarter. They came up here, and when they turned to the hall, I need to see if I can find that clip from yesterday, actually. Or maybe it was 2 days ago. I put it on the one when I walked outside. I put it on the next clip. Actually, I'll talk about the next clip. Basically, I was telling somebody not to smoke, and they actually looked down the hall and said, "See, like, I'm getting them to smoke." And I was like, "See there, here we go." So I'm gonna go ahead and say, you just came up here for 50 cents. Now give it back. When you walked up here with me to get it, now you have to go without it. And you walked up here with me. So maybe that'll be next time that'll remind you, you don't need to smoke. I flipped it all the way around. It's things like that. Like, we tear each other down. I'll be looking at each other like, what is wrong with us? When you could easily stand up. Like Harlem Hospital, so disappointed. You sat there and played with something, bro. So and you're in Harlem. If Mount Sinai acted a complete monkey, I would expect Harlem Hospital to be like, yo, you know what? Nah. Risk everything on the line, because 9 times out of 10, you'll get the funding that you need, or you won't be able to be touched, you know what I mean, on that arena, because the integrity that you would deliver. Or other hospitals, I'm like, you have somebody coming in and y'all teasing or y'all playing. Like, you know what's going on because you're bringing it up. I don't get it. I'm like, we as a people, what's going on, bro? I'm like, I'm sitting here like, I wouldn't try to get nobody. Like, a guy downstairs made mad little comments where he should probably be reprimanded on his job. And I looked at him and he was like, it's his job. So I kind of digressed off of it. I didn't really go in like I could have, or go to the tape. Because I was like, I do have you on tape going back and forth, and like literally, what I say, 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 for like 5 minutes after I closed my door. So I'm like, okay, that's a bit excessive, dude. Like, you're trying to provoke me. And we go down and talk to his boss, and they downplay it. Oh, I was with somebody, and nothing really happened. And I was like, looked at him like, ooh, you. But you know what? I'm going to let you rock. Kind of like the security over at, was it something, not one thing, the towers over here behind Penn Station, behind the mail place, whatever, over here at 34th and Penn, one of the buildings over there where they had the Whole Foods security guard. Oh, you gonna get another black man in trouble? I'm just like, but you as a black man disrespected me. I'm sitting here reading aloud. You come and interrupt me as if I'm laying down sleeping when I'm reading aloud, and almost cause a scene when I'm reading aloud. And it's a thick book, so I'm like, you would think you'd be happy. Wow, this African American guy is out here. Granted, I was laid, but not laid down. Like, I wasn't sleeping. My head was up, and the book was up, and I was reading out loud, so you can tell I wasn't asleep. And I had on decent clothes, so I'm like, why would you treat me like I'm some, like, homeless person that's just sleeping out on benches, and then even so, I wouldn't even treat a homeless person like you did. Like, you're trying to, like, call me out on Front Street. And you're African American, bro. I was like, that's where I'm like, I don't get that part. Like, there's a reason why certain choices are choices that you have in people. Because certain things I go through, certain people haven't gone through. So if somebody was like, oh, he's a front runner up for representation of African American people. Oh, he's, I don't know. He was in a lifestyle. He was in a lifestyle. So 9 times out of 10, he knows a lot more than you do on one side of the fence if he's been both. And he knows about psychological. He knows about being in with racist, quote unquote, racist white people and being in with regular white people. He knows hanging around Spanish people, hanging around racial Spanish white people. He knows different aspects that you might not come in contact with just by being a homeboy. So I'm sitting here like, people act like, oh, I'm like, y'all stupid. If anything, I have more insight to a lot of stuff. Like, I'm the guy that wants to contribute to life and society, but plagued by all these different stigmas and things that are detrimental to my life, even when I was in the quote unquote lifestyle. You had stigmas within that. It's not peaches and cream. Like, if anything, it's harder. Like, it's already hard being an African American male. Be one where your sexuality was pushed in a direction where you're like, you know what, I don't even think that would have been, I'm definitely sure that probably would have been the direction that it would have gone had not some psychological factors been at play. Versus, oh, this man, he grew up with a family. He a dude, dated females, and went through stuff. Versus, this a dude, dated females, got pulled into another lifestyle, got pulled into this, got pushed around, got helped by certain racist white people, and then regular, and then Spanish, and then racist. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, literally, it was kind of like ping pong. And I was like, whoa, like, all of a sudden, these people are helping me. Because they're kind of like, y'all messed up. Even talking about my own race. And, like, he's actually a good guy. He actually speaks a lot. A lot of people I had people that were racial that I know at points were helping me. I can tell you're kind of, but you felt what I was saying to be real. You know, you value me as a real person, acknowledging both sides of the fence, not just one side. And I'm like, you have something like that, but you sit there, you treat it like you have the truth sitting in your lap. And I'm like, dang, just say something. Just stand. Nope, 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 not right like we want you yet. Wait, not right like you want me. What if I'm right like I want me right now? Except for not in a position of like where I should be compensated. That's what somebody should be pushing is like, yo, so y'all know that nigga innocent. Y'all know somebody's reading his mind. Or y'all know somebody was following around doing this, not reading his mind, but well, that's what was said. And calling out information on his phone or his personal business and making stress and doing all this. This is stuff that you witnessed and you still witness till today. I'm like, how many African American males have really stood? Like, you have to wait to, and I was like, this would be an insult. I'm like, I got a feeling it might end up happening. Like, it is not, or actually kind of already is happening, where another race will have to step and be like, hey, and how does it make it look? Weirdish. Be like, this is weirdish. Like, I would think that y'all would get me more than anybody else, but I'm like, I might be wrong, but I'm like, but I see it's just kind of weird because I'm like, y'all are not really saying what you should be saying. But I'm like, you could already kind of, and it gets to the point where it starts to get messy. And like, it's messy to the point where it's going to turn into well, not a null and void on my part, but a null and void as far as the momentum or the movement side of it. Like, it technically is a whole movement. And everything around it is a movement in itself. I don't even know if people actually noticed or did notice, but it is actually. But I'm like, it's a valid one. And other people know that. And I'm like, that's why I think some people felt so sympathetic. Like, dang, like that's kind of like, why aren't y'all? And that you should like, and I'm like, some people like, I'm looking like you shouldn't exploit this. Do not do the dumb stuff and exploit the situation. That's what somebody will want you to do. And all of a sudden, it's just like it fades to black. Well, not the movement side of it will fade to black. I'm just like, wow. You know, was it just a black use me thing? Because that's kind of what it looks. Right, that's what I'm like. So Harlem Hospital, what you know? So, what's going on? What you know? So, people walking around, what you know? So, shelter, what you know? Huh. HRA, what you know? Uh, people that were with me in the hospital, what you know? But you let somebody sideline y'all. like a sideline. I'm like, I hope it's just trying to like protect personal, because I'm like, I know for a fact what was told to me. So I'm sitting there, I know for a fact what happened. So if somebody gave you $5,000 to lie or not say nothing, would you take the $5,000 or would you take the change? That's what who should ask themselves. And I'm not saying changes in like the nickels and dimes. I'm talking about the changes in the mentality of the movement.